Let's go over the syllabus for the summer. I'm going to use the 065 syllabus to represent the 55, 65, and 85 syllabi. Here you have your basic information. Let's look at the required materials. You do need the MyMathLab access code. If you bought a code last semester for around $150 at the bookstore, that code should still be good for 55, 65, and 85. Just talk with your instructor. The other thing that you'll need is a calculator in the 55 class. The calculator within the MyMathLab system will be the only one that will be allowed to be used. In the 65 and 85 class, you are not required to buy a graphing calculator, but is strongly recommended. The ones that we highly recommend are the TI-83 or the TI-84. But you will be alright with the scientific calculator, but if you can buy a graphing calculator, we highly recommend it. Your instructor will have other information concerning the office hours, contact information in their syllabus. The class is divided up into 6 modules. That's for 55 and 65. 85 has 5 modules. You can read the descriptions in the syllabus, or in each syllabi as you want, or in each syllabus. 75% of the class is based on the modules. The remaining 25% is based on the final exam. In order to pass the class, once you've taken the final exam, you must have made at least a 50% in the final exam and have an overall class average of 70%. MP grade. In order to receive an MP grade, you must have completed at least 3 new modules in the current semester, and you cannot miss more than 450 minutes of regularly scheduled class time. That's roughly 6 class meetings. To receive an F, that means that you have completed at least 3 new modules, or if you have completed at least 3 new modules but you haven't met the attendance requirement, or if you cheat in the final exam. Incomplete for 55 and 65, you must have completed at least 5 modules and must have a very good reason. For 85, you must have completed at least 4 modules. Most of this you can read. The last day to take the final exam was August the 8th. You can take it before if you finish all the modules. Most of this you can read for yourself. Withdrawal, you have until midterm to withdraw without your instructor's signature. After that, you will need your instructor's signature. Late work, the only penalty is you will not receive bonus points for completing a module early. You're expected to show all your work for pre-test and exit test and to submit that work. The attendance policy, not only is it used for failing or for MP, it's also part of your grade for each module. 10% of each module is based on attendance. Cheating policy, the main way to cheat main ways to cheat are to look at other websites that you're not supposed to be looking at, using calculators you're not allowed to use, and cell phones. Please keep your cell phones put away while you're in class. Once you begin an exam, you must finish it. You cannot leave the room for any reason whatsoever. If you have to leave and you can't finish it, your instructor may delete or restart your exam over, which means you have to take the whole exam over again. Now here's the way a typical module works. You'll take a pre-test. If you make a 9% or higher on the pre-test and you're satisfied, you're done with the module. You can go to the next module then. If you don't make a 9% or higher on the pre-test, or if you're just not satisfied with that score, you'll proceed immediately to the homework assignments. In the homework assignments, you have to make at least an 80 or higher to proceed to the next assignment. Now you will notice in the homework assignments that once you enter the homework, some of those are already counted correctly. That's based on what you did on the pre-test. The homework assignments are tied to the pre-test. Now, as you make an 80%, we highly recommend you make 100%. 8%. If you make an 8% in the homework, that means that you're at your grade for the homework assignment. So you really want to go for the 100. Now, once you complete the homework assignments, you'll proceed to the exit test. If you make an 80% or higher on the exit test, you're done with the module. That is, if you're satisfied. If you don't make an 80% or higher, that means that you'll have to complete some extra assignments. The first set of assignments will be quizzes. So I'm actually down here. Let's go right here. So if you don't make an 80 on the first exit test attempt, you will then complete the module quizzes for that particular module with 8% each. Once you completed those quizzes, then you can take the second attempt. If you don't make an 80% on the second attempt, you make a 95%. You must make a 95% on a practice assignment for the third attempt, and the same is true for the fourth attempt. So these are ways for you to improve or to be better prepared for the second, third, fourth attempts. If you need more attempts, you have to talk to your instructor on making arrangements and what needs to be done for additional attempts. There are 5-point bonus questions for each module, and well, I'll show you those in a different video, but they're just called exit test bonus questions. Once again, the attendance is 10% of each module grade. We do have due dates for everything. We want you to finish way ahead of schedule. Just keep that in mind. The breakdown of each module: attendance is 10, homework is 30, each exit test is 60%. Once you finish all the modules, you can then take the final exam. You do not have to wait until August the 9th or August the 8th. We want you to take it as early as possible, but you cannot do that until you finished all the modules. For the 55 and 65 classes, you have the option, and actually for the 85 class, you have the option to finish the class early, and we want you to do so. For 55 and 65, if you do finish early, you can proceed to the next class. So let's say that you're in 55 and you finish it early. You can go home if you want to, or you can come back in and start working on the 65 modules. And if you finish all those modules in the final exam, you've just earned a free class. You just fill out a little step form. Let's say that you don't finish all the modules, and just say you finish only one module in 065, or let's say you finish 65 and you're working 85. You just finish one module there. Well, that's just one less module that you have to do next semester when you take that class. So, in theory, and we've seen this happen, if you're an 055 student, you can actually finish 3 classes for the price of 1. And your instructor will explain that more, hopefully the first day of class and throughout the semester. Now, the big thing about the MP is, if you do have an MP, say from last semester, from the spring semester, what that means is that those modules that you completed last semester, those grades will be transferred over to the summer. So let's say that you have an MP grade because you finished 3 modules. You'll begin with module 4, and you'll just finish from there. Now module 4 will be due, or module 5, whichever one you're starting with, if you have an MP, or if you finished modules previously from previous semester. The due date for those will be July the 3rd. But for everybody that starts at module 1, your first due date will be June 25th. And this is an 8-week class, so you're looking at roughly 1.5 to 2 weeks for the most part. Maybe 1 week. It just depends. And so this is just a recommended breakdown, but once again, we do not want you to go by this. We want you to finish way ahead of schedule. Now you'll notice in the 65 and 85 syllabi, you'll see a course pretest. Now if you're an 065 student and you haven't had 055, or if you're an 085 student and you haven't had 065 or 055, there's a course pretest that we want you to take the first day. But that's not required. You can take it at home. What it's meant to be as a little idea to see where you stand is for your own benefit. Your instructor may not even look at it. When you take that course pretest because you haven't had the previous class yet, and you find that you're struggling through that, you may want to switch to the class before. So if you're in 065 and you find that course pretest is not much fun, you have the right or the option to choose or to switch to 055. We're not sure yet what that deadline is going to be, so you want to do that as soon as possible. So it's highly recommended to do that the very first day at home, Monday night, and come back the next day. And if you're satisfied that you're good to go, then you stay in the class. If you want to switch to 055 or 065, let your instructor know. Arrangements can be made. It'll be the exact same time, exact same instructor. It would just change your class from 065 to 055 or 085 to 065 or the alfalfa, it just depends. So, this is some other information you can read for yourself. If you have any questions, ask your instructor.